Hello everyone, this is Jonathan from Credit Card Fighters, and I did want to mention that in the last video, I believe some people thought that I was stating that Grand Blue deck profile was something that had to be run. These deck profiles are merely suggestions that you can take to either see a different point of view with decks or to also improve your game if it will help. If it helps you improve your game, great. If it doesn't, then I apologize for my deck. But these are just the way that I like to play, and I've played these in tournaments before at my locals, and they work pretty well. Today I will be doing Tachikaze. So as usual, this is my starter. Dragon Egg. Dragon Egg is a card that when rolled upon, you draw a card. That seems to be the standard for every starter in standard. Forgive the pun. My grade 3 lineup. My main grade 3 would be Ravenous Dragon Gigarex. He's a great card. He gains plus 5,000 for each of your rear guards, and you give an equip gauge to each of your rear guards whenever he attacks. His axe skill is discard 5 equip gauges, give 3 units on your front row plus 5,000, and if your opponent's at 4 or less damage, deal them a damage. It's a great card for pressure, and it also makes great columns on its own. And because generally a Tachikaze deck comes with 8 crits, it's very important for them to guard it. Next is 2 copies of Savage King. He gains plus 5,000 power for each equip gauge on him. When he attacks, you're able to filter your equip gauges from 1 unit onto him, giving him a more dangerous power boost, and also sets up for certain cards. The next is 3 copies of Tyrant Deathrex. This card is Soul Blast 1. When he attacks, retire a unit for as many equip gauges as that unit has. That is plus 10,000. So if you had 1, it's 10,000. If you had 10 equip gauges, then that would be 100,000. And when Soul Blasted, he gains the power. You retire one of your units that has the equip gauges, and you retire one of your opponent's units. So it's great for cards that are really annoying, like if you're going against Kagero. I would like to get rid of the Airmo, since that's their main advantage card, or get rid of something that can be dangerous to you later on in the game. If you're going against Royal Paladin, I'd personally get rid of Akane or Joran, since those would be their main advantage cards. Since Akane is going to be swinging for 21 without a force marker, 31 with a force marker, and Joran swings for 15 by himself whenever you have 3 or more rear guards. Normally with Akane you're boosting with Pongo, so she gains the plus 3k. Next are 3 copies of Savage Raider. Its skill is, when placed, put a equip gauge on someone, and when it attacks, you're able to move equip gauges from one unit to the other. So that's good for setting up for Deathrex, or if you want to use Blight Tops or Mega Rex. More like, my opinion, I would save it more for Blight Tops, since it gives you more cards in hand. Next is 2 copies of Attempt Mammoth. If your opponent's guarding this card, they would have to drop 2 cards from hand, and after the battle that it attacked, you have to discard an equip gauge or destroy this card. So that's great, especially on Excel Circle where it's swinging for 19, and they would have to still drop 2. And if you're able to pull triggers or you're able to boost it more, that's great too, especially if someone runs Beam Tarot, gives it plus 3k. Next is 4 copies of Ravenous Dragon Megarex. His skill is when it attacks, retire a unit, draw a card, counterblast 1, add an equip gauge to this unit, and it gains plus 5,000 for each equip gauge. So he's good too for pressure. I personally leave him on an Excel circle so that this way he starts out at base 19. If you attack a Ravenous Dragon, that's a 5,000. Retire something that's plus 10,000, so you're swinging for 32. Next is this beautiful card right here, Assault Dragon Blightops. And this one is that if it's retired from rear guard, counterblast 1. And if you have up to 2 equip gauges on this card, you get to add those back to hand. If you happen to have 3, then one of them goes to drop. It's good for getting cards back to hand, so that it makes up for the weakness if someone was playing Nova Grappler but they got a call from hand but they don't have enough cards to guard for the next turn. So it makes this deck less of a glass cannon. Next is Winged Dragon Scaptero. This card, when retired from rear guard, counterblast 1, and you add it back to hand. So if you went into Gigarex and you had this card behind it, and you actually were able to hit with a card being boosted by Sonic Noah, you retire Scaptero, counterblast 1, add them back to your hand, and this way you're not losing many resources. The next one is Vicious Claw Dragon Laceratorex. If someone knows how to pronounce this card correctly, please let me know in the comments. His skill is when placed, put an equip gauge on him. His secondary skill is when he's retired, Soul Blast 1. Add that equip gauge that was on him to your hand. So he's also another card that allows you to get a card back to hand. Now for my final grade 1, Sonic Noah. His skill is when he boosts, he puts an equip gauge on the unit. When the attack hits from a card he boosted, retire a unit and draw a card. So again, this could be good for using Scaptero. You draw a card, retire him, counterblast, get Scaptero back to hand. Now you have 2 more cards to guard with. So it's nearly a free card, a free draw advantage. And I do run the 8 crits. I have 4 of Savage Aggressor. Very aggressive card. And Black Cannon Tiger. So I'm actually glad they brought this card back. It was one of my favorite critical triggers in G Standard. Back when I first used Tachikaze, I went for Gaia, and then I went for the Legion, because I kind of started late with Vanguard. This is the heal trigger, Savage Shaman. It's a good heal trigger. I like the art. And it's a 20k shield, because who doesn't need heal triggers? And the final trigger is my draw PG, Archbird, and basic PG. This has been Johnson from Card Fighters, and enjoy your day.